welcome to Hungary. We are actually in the Puszta in Hungary Hotel in Lakitelek. It's an EWTN conference here, and we have the privilege to have talk with Auxiliary Bishop Rob Mutsaerts from
Den Bosch.
Den Bosch.
Auxiliary Bishop in the south of the Netherlands, that is.
So welcome. And,
thank you.
And I would like to ask you some questions. First of all, the news about Catholic Netherlands are not always so positive nowadays. We can read about empty churches and lack of vacations and so on. Can you tell us something about it?
I'm afraid you're right, because numbers are still dropping. Like I come from a town, Tilburg, and in the end of the 50s, beginning 60s, 98% of the population went to Mass every week. They were all Catholic. And now it's dropped to 1.5%. And it's, well, practically old people over 70. So within 10 years, we're still going to decimate, I'm afraid. And in my diocese, well, the seminary is completely empty.
I have met your name sometimes at Traditionis.
Custodes. Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, I still don't understand it. It's about with the old Mass, as we call it, the traditional Mass. We had it for, I don't know, 15 centuries. Most of the saints, they were become saints with this Mass. And for some reason, the Pope thinks we should not allow it anymore, unlimited in a large matter. I don't know why. If you look in the Netherlands, where you see some places where you see families and young people, that's where the traditional Latin Mass is. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's for me a total riddle why Pope Francis came up with this motu proprio. I don't see a reason for it, not whatsoever. Yeah.
You said actually you considered it as a declaration of war.
Well, it looks like it. It's maybe a strong way of saying it. But it just came out of the blue. Yeah. And why? And it's so strict. Todos, todos, you know, the saying of the Holy Father, which is good. How about the traditionals? Yeah. How about them? Are they not welcome? Or, I don't know. It looks like it.
But at the same time, when Pope Francis now came to Belgium,
yes.
The Mass was very well visited by 60,000. How many was it?
Yes.
And then he had some declarations also, and he received criticism that they considered him too conservative. It was against women and many things. And suddenly, so it was another judgment of the Pope that he was still very conservative and very firm in this Catholicism.
In Belgium, he was very clear. He was very clear on abortion. It's just it's murder, it's killing. And if abortion doctors, all who operate these abortions, is like hiring a hitman, he was very clear on that. And no women deacons. But that's the confusion that's from Rome these days. The one day he says this, and the next day he says quite something different on the same subject. It's not clear what to think of it. The one day say, well, not gays in the assembly, there are too many, you shouldn't have them. That next week someone visits him who tells him he's gay and he's got a vocation, and he says to him, follow your vocation. I don't know what to make all of this. And it's confusion. What the Pope should be is being clear, and it's not clear to me.
No. You also said some things about the blessing of couples.
Yes, but we have always been clear on, can you bless a sinner? Of course. Otherwise we couldn't bless anyone. Can we bless sin? No, of course not. It's like saying sin, well, it's okay. A gay couple like living together in sin, can we bless that? No. and not in a simple way, not in a strict way, not in a formal way, but not at all. So this is complicated as well. Why does he say something like that? I just don't understand that. That's like, can you receive a sacrament when you're not in the state of grace, like Amoris Laetitia? Well, the Catholic answer has always been a simple and a direct no. And now it's, in some cases, in some specific cases, in very exceptional cases, it might be, yeah, it's it's causing confusion for everyone.
But at the same time, you're quite explicit, and some other maybe Catholic writers and so on, but actually we don't hear so very much from cardinals and from bishops. Reaction. I heard that some people say that what Bishop Mutsaerts say, all of us think, but he says what we think.
Yeah.
Why is it like that?
I don't know. I think it's just clear common Catholic sense that I'm saying. I'm not saying any specific things which are controversial, but it's the point of view of the Catholic Church like it always has been. And it's not, those point of views, they don't change with the times. The secular times have no, they don't make us change our position. We go back to the gospel, and that's how we, the times might be changing, and the way we operate might be changing, but not the points of view. And why others don't say it, I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah.
But you don't think this will be a split in the church? Many people, they say that don't criticize the Pope, we should be united, and we should pray for him and help him.
We should pray for him, we should help him, and we would wish him all the best, of course. But when someone is saying something that is not right, and I don't say anything about it, and I say, well, okay, this is what it is, well, that's confusing. And if something is not right, it's not right. If that's the man on the street, or even if the Pope is saying something which is not right, what's not right is not right.
We experienced the criticism against Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict, and actually also Pope Paul VI when Humanae Vita came.
Yeah.
You know, the Nordic Bishops' Conference, they didn't accept it. And it took 40 years before it was translated in Swedish, 40 years.
But that's a strange thing, is criticizing Pope Benedict, criticizing Pope John Paul II. That was okay for everyone. And criticizing the now Pope, different ideas from that. And I think Humanae Vita, it was very providential. It was prophetic, but saying better. You see the consequences. It's an attack on the family, and when you have an attack on the family, the whole thing will collapse. It's always been like that. It's always two things: attack on the family, and on the Eucharist. Read Chesterton. He already said 100 years ago. You wouldn't think that would be a problem in those days, but he foresaw it, and he saw the consequences. That's what we see now everywhere, like woke and gender. What is it based on? Nothing. Nothing. Not on science, not on, well, you name it. And original sin, but that is out of the question, and you ignore it. That's where things go wrong. We still have a conscience, don't we? We know what's right or wrong. And if you're messing with that, St. Augustine, he put it right. Hate sin, love the sinner. And that's the distinction with what Catholic Church has always been very good at. In our days is hate sin, no, that's very judgmental. We don't hate sin because it's all subjective. No, we think things are what they are right or wrong, and that's got nothing to do with this time or with whatever view. It's based on revelation of the Bible. And love the sinner. the distinction, people can't make the distinction. Theft is wrong, so the thief is bad. No, we say theft, that's wrong. Don't say it anyway else. But the thief, do something for him that he might change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when the distinction is gone, there's going to be a problem.
It's an interesting topic you're into now, because I remember Donoso Cortes, it was a Spanish philosopher, 19th century, and he said that you must have an inner repression, and he meant moral. If you don't have that, don't learn it from childhood, then the society has to control you by repression from police, from military, from prisons. We are exactly there now in Sweden. The criminality goes down to young people. They are 12 years old when they are shooting others and so on. And we just discuss how we should help the police, but then it's already late. Isn't it like that? Shouldn't it start before with the sense of what is right and what is wrong?
Yes, I think people have a sense of what is right and what is wrong, but they don't want to see it sometimes. And if you want to go against it, what is wrong, well, we call that developing virtues, and you have to practice them. And if you ignore them or you deny them, things go from bad to worse. That's why we have confession. Look back at yourself and then in a reflection, what do I do? Most of the time these are things that are happening everywhere and every day, but doesn't mean that they are good. But if you never look back at them and ask for forgiveness, then it becomes a normality, and then it goes from bad to worse. 12 years old and killing others, and
get paid for it.
Get paid for it, and not even going to prison. Is that what I understand, right?
Well, they try to change the law now, but you know, the police are shocked when they take these teenagers because they say we didn't see any reflection of what they did. They just shot to death one person or two, and then they go to shop things afterwards.
But if you don't,
they seems to have no emotion.
Yeah, I think it's already Pope John Paul who mentioned it. There's this, I could say that this damned relativism in our times. What's right and wrong? What you think is right? Okay, it's right for you. What's wrong is wrong for you. But don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what's right and wrong. And if that's the case, what do you do? What do you do? What can you tell kids what's right and wrong if everything's relative and subjective? And the main problem of our days is not theology, it's philosophy. Is there something like the truth that counts for everyone? Like gravity, it goes for if you like it or not, gravity, you're subject to gravity. If you don't agree, well, step over the balcony and you'll find out. But the same goes for the moral issues. They count for everyone. And if you say, well, not for me, there's where things go wrong. And we have to go back to basics. Even before Christ, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, they knew about this. They knew about the moral laws and the law we are all subjected to, and no exceptions, like gravity for the physics law. But the moral law, that's also, and if you let that go, well, then you have no real view on reality. Then you're going to mingle words and abortion. No, it's not killing a baby, it's women's rights. Then euthanasia, it's an act of mercy. The opposite's going to happen. The opposite.
But what about then to discuss this in the synodality maybe? Didn't you go to the synod last time?
Last year or two? Well, actually not. What's on the agenda? Everything. Normally it's the same as nothing. Who do we listen to? Everyone. Yeah. What's it about? Well, listening. It reminds me of Jesus going with the two disciples on the way to Emmaus. Jesus listened, and he listened, and then he stopped them. He said, well, you're completely wrong. You've got these ideas, but you missed the point. And then he explained it to them, and then he went back to Jerusalem. But if we only listen and don't say our point of view, we end up in Emmaus. We must be clear, the church must be clear. That's the main point. If it's about heaven, is it hell, purgatory, the teaching of our Lord, is he merciful? Yes, of course he is. Is he righteous? Oh yes, also. These simple things, if you don't teach it kids anymore, in these days the kids, no one is giving them directions, no one giving them a compass, no one giving them a fundament. They call it freedom, but actually it's indifference. Yeah, it's indifference. You find out yourself. You find out what?
Oh, yes.
We must have a compass. I have a simple example. When you're in the middle of an ocean, you're free to go and sail everywhere you want. You will never reach the harbor. You will never reach the harbor. But stick to the compass. Stick to the compass, not freedom, but to the compass, and you will reach the harbor. Stick to Jesus, and you will find your harbor, your destination. Okay, it's simply said, but it's basic truth, I think.
But still, some people, even within the church, say that the church has to adapt to the times, and it's because it's so stiff and so rigid that the young people leave it, or don't come to it.
If we adapt to the times, what are we good for then? Nothing. No. If we're not there, or if you're saying exactly the same things, what do? We're good for nothing. We have to stick to what we know is the truth. We want to be relevant, and we want to be so relevant. Look what we do for climate change and everything. We totally lost our identity, and that's the main thing, to refine our identity. And we lost power. We were quite powerful in the past, the church. We had quite a say in everything. In the villages, parish priests, they could arrange a place for you in an old folks' home. That's all gone. And maybe that's good. So now we can become ourselves again. We don't have to look up to the eyes of other people and become ourselves. It's good that we become poor. That's a good thing. If a church is too rich and too powerful, it always works out for the wrong. So, and actually I'm hopeful, because I know the numbers in the Netherlands, baptism rates and confirmations nearly next to nothing. But since 2 years, all the parish priests, they see young people showing up out of nowhere, no idea where they come from, totally secularized environment, atheist. They're looking for something, because there's something really missing, and they feel at home in the Catholic Church. How they defined us, I don't know. And I heard it from all the priests. I had baptized a few adults, and they feel it, and they really want to go all the way. They are checking out the church fathers, Thomas Aquinas, Louis Chesterton. It's always two things. We have got a rational religion, very rational. We have got reasons for our faith, reasons. We don't believe in fairy tales. We've got reasons, historical, rational reasons. And the liturgy, it's important. People are touched by good liturgy, not clown liturgy, but good liturgy. And that makes them think, hey, what's happening here? Why do I feel at home here? And it's everywhere. And it's young people, most of them highly educated, and for some reason, far more boys and men than girls and women. Maybe because of the feminization of society, that they think, what's going on here? I don't know.
It's fantastic, Bishop Mutsaerts, that you end with this hope, because I've seen the same things in Sweden.
Yeah.
We have a growing youth movement within the Catholic Church.
Yes. Good things are happening always.
Yeah.
And things always start small. Look at Mother Angelica. How did she start in her in her garage with one camera, or not even? Yeah. So keep going. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah. I think this will be a good end of our talk. Thank you very much, Bishop Mutsaerts.
Thank you very much, Ilse. Thank you, brother. And keep the faith and keep going on. Yeah.
Thank you.